guys, it's Vas here from Aussie Playground and welcome to my review of the LaTrax Teton. Now, Teton is actually the name of some mountain ranges, which is what the truck has actually been named after. However, if you translate Teton into French, it means something entirely different. So if you want to have a little bit of a laugh, go ahead and translate that to French and enjoy. Now, this is a 1/18 scale four-wheel drive brushed monster truck. It is supplied by LaTrax, which is a sister company of Traxxas. It does come ready to run. It has the good old TQ remote from Traxxas. They also included the 4 AA's required for the remote, which are branded Traxxas as well. Included in the box, you also get a 1200 milliamp nickel metal hydrate battery pack with a little Tamiya plug, and they also include a battery with a little indicator light to tell you when the battery is fully charged, which I think is excellent. And of course, the all-important manual. Now, this is only in black and white, and it does look kind of boring, but it does have information in there should you need to do any maintenance on the truck. So, let's talk about this little guy for a little while. I'm going to start off with some of the bad points, some of the things that I found not quite right on this truck, I think, and then we'll finish off with some of the positives. So I'm going to go ahead and take the body off. And if you guys have seen the unboxing, you're all very familiar with how the truck looks inside. Everything is waterproof. It is only brushed. There's very limited space to what you can do here. It has a little micro servo at the front, and it's all solid links everywhere. There's no adjustment on your camber or toe or anything like that. And even the drive shafts are actually plastic as well. The good thing is that they've actually braced our shock towers with some plastic little braces here on the front and rear. And the shock towers, you know, despite several tumbles and cartwheels and so forth from the truck, everything's held up very well. However, I'm going to point out that there are a couple of things here that I don't like about this truck. One of them, and I guess the most important one, has to be the steering. Now, to give you an example, to show you this the best way that I can, if we turn the servo, turn our wheels to the left here, servo saver is supposed to work to a certain extent, but then the servo is meant to pull back. And as you can see, I can turn my wheels all the way to the right, and the servo doesn't move. Now, I guess this is a good thing because the servo is not being overstretched or anything, but the bad thing is that as you're driving the truck, especially if you have it turned a particular direction, you could hit a rock or a bump or some even terrain, or uneven terrain rather, and the steering would go off. So you're intending for the truck to go left, and all of a sudden it will just steer to the right. Now, I suppose to a certain extent that's acceptable because it's a very light, little tiny truck and it's going to bounce around and bob around a little bit. But that, to me, the steering of this truck just isn't quite right, I don't think. I think there's something here that just isn't working the way that I'm used to, you know, the RC is working. It's supposed to, the direction that it's supposed to go to, that's where I want it to go, not to, you know, I'm going to turn left and hopefully it doesn't hit anything that's going to make it turn right or go straight or do anything silly. So that to me was a little bit annoying. I'm also going to nitpick on the tires, but not so much for the rubber compound or grip, but the fact that they didn't come glued to the wheels. Now, that is not a big deal. A lot of RCs out there don't have their tires glued to the wheels. Most of them actually come in kit form, not as an RTR. But this one, I wasn't aware that that the tires were not glued to these wheels, and I went out and ran the truck, and about halfway through my battery pack, one of the tires came off. I actually thought something had actually gone wrong, and it was just the tires that come off the rims. Now, that was a little bit annoying to me because, of course, I had to take everything out. I had to wash it, clean it, and then glue it back on. It was annoying, but, you know, that's not going to, that's not a deal breaker by any means. So I'm not 100% sure if the current models actually have the wheels glued on or the tires glued onto the wheels. I would suggest you check it. If they are not, go ahead and glue them on. There's no problem gluing these on. The wheels themselves actually have a little breathing hole, so the tire is not going to be airtight. So it's not going to be like you know, a bicycle tire or anything like that. The car, or the truck rather, is very light. It's not going to squish the tires down, and there's no foam inserts in these as well, so it's a very simple job to do. Just make sure you use the right glue. Go ahead and glue them on and you'll be fine. Now, I'm going to point out just very quickly something that hasn't happened to me, but I've heard of several people having issues with the shocks on this truck. I've actually been, well, I'm going to say that I've been very fortunate, very lucky that my shocks have not failed. I've not had any of the plastics break, nor have I had the shock shafts break. I've had a few people comment on some of the previous videos of this truck saying that their shocks have broken. I can't really say that the same things happened to me. Now, I do have a theory as to why this has happened, and my theory is that the car was released in February, and here in Australia in February, we're in the middle of summer, we're in 35, 40 degree heat, and over in the States and in Europe, in certain places, certainly up north, you're going to be in sub-zero temperatures at times, and I think common knowledge is, well, quite simply, cold weather is not good on RC plastic, and that may have contributed to the shocks failing. Now, as I said, it is only a theory. It may have nothing to do with it, and I'm not trying to defend the truck, but if that is the case, then there's obviously a logical explanation. If that isn't the case, well, then I have been extremely lucky because my shocks have not broken. That's not to say that the next time I run the truck, I'm going to have a couple of them break, but the truck has taken plenty of falls, plenty of cartwheels, had a few nasty landings, and the shocks have been totally fine. So I suppose there, just buyer beware that there may be some issues there with the shocks. Everything is waterproof. I didn't have any issues with the electronics. However, I did have my motor burn out on me, and I'm not going to blame the truck for this one because I was running a LiPo battery, which is this guy right here. This is a 2S 1.7 or 1700 milliamp from Turnigy. I've actually got two of these. And the ESC does have a LiPo cutoff, so you will be fine running a LiPo in here. I ran a full battery pack, the battery went flat, I swapped it, put another one in the truck, and it didn't last 2 minutes before the motor seized up. Had a very distinct burning smell, so I knew that the motor was pretty much cooked. So if you are planning to run a LiPo battery in this truck, be mindful that there is a good chance you may actually seize your motor. Replacing the motor is not a huge big deal for somebody that sort of knows what they're doing. First of all, the motor is only worth about $10, so it's not going to break the bank. But there are no plugs to just unplug the motor and do a quick swap over. You actually have to do some soldering there, and if you're not familiar with how to do that, maybe steer away from the LiPos, and you should be okay. Other than that, I have to say that everything else has held up very well. The suspension on the truck actually works pretty well. It's a little bouncy because the truck is so light, but it works reasonably well. I actually found launching off a few jumps over at the BMX truck, the track that the truck actually handled those jumps quite well. It has plenty of speed. I think I clocked it at around about high 30s to 40 kilometers an hour, not miles. So it does have sufficient speed to have some fun. Obviously, you have to use this truck within its limitations, what it's intended for. To me, I find this to be ideal for a beginner hobbyist, perhaps even to get the younger crowd enthused on or into the hobby. I think it'll be ideal. Or for anyone, even if you are an experienced hobbyist or racer and you've just got, maybe at home you've only got a little courtyard or a little patch of grass in the back or the front of the house. This is ideal to just have a little bit of fun, maybe set up a tiny little ramp and yeah, just have a bit of entertainment. It has a very small footprint, so you can put it in your glove box in the boot of the car. It's not going to take up a lot of room. Take it camping, take it hiking, have a bit of fun with it. And I think this is quite a good little truck. Now, this does retail for about $150 from Tower Hobbies. But at the time, because I bought this when it was first released, I got a $20 discount from Tower for the truck, and I think Tower had actually made a bit of a mistake with their postage, and I actually got free postage all the way from the US. So it only owes me 130 US flat and no postage there. Obviously, if you're wanting to buy one, you may be able to get that discount, but they are going to charge you postage. They fixed it up soon after I ordered the truck because I actually wanted to get another one, and they fixed it up, and now you still get the $20 discount, but you have to pay for your postage. Just be mindful of that. That's for overseas buyers. I believe US buyers will get free national shipping That's my understanding. The only other thing I'm going to point out on the truck that is a little bit worrying is these plastic drive shafts. Now, they've been holding up perfectly fine, but if you know, I want to actually upgrade this to brushless, and I know a lot of people out there have done that as well. I'm a little bit fearful of how these drive shafts are actually going to hold up, because it does have a great big thick metal drive shaft through the middle there, and you'll be able to see it just there. But then these ones here are all plastic, and they're kind of thin. There's not a lot of body to them, so I'm not quite sure how they're going to hold up with a bit more power running through the truck. Having said that, there are a few upgrades out there. There's actually an upgrade for the entire steering belt crank assembly and servo saver. I know that LaTrax have advertised aluminium drive shafts as well. There's also aluminium shocks that you can get, your turnbuckles, C-hubs, both front and rear. There's also aluminium upgrades available for that. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I wish LaTrax would do would be to release them, because I've found very difficult to get those upgrades as much as I want to get them. They're actually a little bit tricky to find. That's not to say that perhaps with the shocks you might be able to find a third-party company that maybe makes shocks that would fit in here, but from LaTrax directly, I haven't come across too many of them. As of the time of this video, you could be watching this a year from now and what are you talking about? There's upgrades everywhere. But as of the time of filming this video, there aren't many available. So that is pretty much my review of this truck. I like it. I obviously have to, you know, you need to keep in mind, buyer beware of the shocks, and just keep in mind of the steering. But it is a good little truck. It handles reasonably well. It's got plenty of speed. It jumps well. It's fairly durable. I haven't had any issues with it. So for me, this gets a thumbs up. I think it's actually a good little unit, and for the price, it doesn't do too badly at all. But that is pretty much it, the end of this review, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to check out the video description for more links on this truck, as well as a link to my Facebook page, which will keep you a couple of steps ahead of what goes on here on YouTube. Thanks again, and I'll be speaking to you guys again soon.